Good morning, Dodger fans. I am Jeff Spiegel here from DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com with a little bit of surprising news this morning. Dodgers making a trade, and not necessarily for a guy you haven't heard of either. Jeff Passan reporting this morning that the Dodgers have agreed to trade with the Toronto Blue Jays to acquire Cavan Biggio, utility man, who will come over. He's got 1 year of team control remaining after this year, 29-year-old who plays all over the place, second base, third base, first base, outfield. In exchange, the Dodgers are going to be sending right-handed reliever Braden Fisher, who has split time between AA and AAA, hasn't been particularly good. Biggio had been DFA'd off of the 40-man roster of the Blue Jays earlier, and so hence the Dodgers jumping in and making a trade. Now, the question here is, what exactly are the Dodgers going to do with a move like this, and what exactly are they getting in a player like Biggio? Biggio's sort of his stats are interesting when you look at, because obviously it's the name recognition. We're talking about Craig Biggio's son, so that gets people excited. You remember the Blue Jays a few years ago when they were this young, exciting team, and it was Vlad's son, it was Biggio's son, it was Bichette's son, all coming up together. Well, it's worth pointing out that Biggio, from a prospect perspective, was never necessarily on the level of those guys. I believe he was at one time in 2019 a top 10 prospect in the Blue Jays system, but that was it. But he comes up and he hit really well. 2019, 100 games, he hit 16 home runs. He's got an OPS of about 800, weighted runs created plus of 115, and he's giving you average defense on the other side. 2020 comes back, 659 games that season. Again, an OPS over 800, weighted runs created plus of 122. And so all of a sudden at 24 and 25, you're looking at a guy in Biggio, again, you're viewing as a cornerstone for your franchise, potentially a recognizable name, kind of a fun guy in a core group of players. Unfortunately, from there, it's been downhill. 2021, 79 games, weighted runs created plus of 84. 2022, 97 games, 97 weighted runs created plus. 2023, 111 games, pops back up above 100 to 103. Again, 100 is league average in the stat. And then this year, hitting just 200, an OPS of 624, and an 88 weighted runs created plus. What's interesting to me, and people aren't going to like this, but when you look at his stat cast, when you look underneath the hood and you're asking yourself, who does Cavan Biggio remind you of? It sounds a lot like Gavin Lux's profile for me. You've got a light hitting sort of, he's more of a utility man than Lux is, but he's a light hitting guy who you're kind of hoping for league average, slightly above. Again, I would argue that Lux may even have more offensive upside, given that we saw his offensive upside in 2022 rather than way back in 2019. But the offensive profile is this. He doesn't chase. He's one of the best in baseball when it comes to not chasing. I believe in 2019, he was 100th percentile in chase rate, and he walks a ton. 98th percentile in walk rate back in 2019. If you look this year and fast forward ahead, again, the chase rate remains awesome, only chasing 17% of the time. He's walking almost 11% of the time. So what the Dodgers are getting are a guy who's got a little bit of potential, a little bit of upside, somebody that maybe you think you can tap into and get a little bit more out of than the Blue Jays were getting out of. He's not going to hit for a ton of power, although he did hit 16 home runs back in 2019. So maybe there is some power there. But typically the profile here is a line drive type hitter who's not going to chase outside the strike zone, who's going to work counts, and who's going to take his walks. And the hope is that maybe this is just simply an upgrade over Kike Hernandez's bat, an upgrade over Chris Taylor's bat. There aren't crazy splits here. It's not like, oh, he mashes lefties and struggles against righties. He's pretty equal there from the left side offensively. And so he's 29 years old. So we'll see. We'll see if the Dodgers can turn a guy like this into something. The cost appears to be just about nothing. And, you know, as somebody said on social media, when the Dodgers jump and grab a guy like this, it should kind of scare you if you're the Blue Jays and maybe even other teams in the league, because the last thing you want is the Dodgers to turn around and make him into something, sort of unlock something that you had not been able to. And so Cavan Biggio is a Dodger, according to Jeff Passan. No word on the corresponding 40-man move. So that'll be interesting. I speculated we haven't gotten much in the way of updates on Ryan Brazier, Joe Kelly lately. So is it possible one of those guys moves to the 60-day IL to open up a spot, or do the Dodgers get crazy here? And is a guy like Kike Hernandez headed out of town and getting DFA'd? Is there a reliever, maybe Nick Ramirez, who's not on the major league roster, who could get DFA'd? That remains to be seen. As we're recording this video, that has not been sort of published yet. So again, Cavan Biggio traded to the Dodgers. Braden Fisher, minor league reliever who's bounced between AA and AAA, sent back to Toronto. Dodgers will have to open up a spot on the 40-man roster. Stay tuned to DodgerBlue.com for all the updates. Once a corresponding move is made, once the Dodgers speak on this, we will have all those updates over on DodgerBlue.com, so make sure you check that out. Of course, make sure you subscribe, ring the notification bell here on Dodger Blue 1958 YouTube channel. And if you're a podcast person, Apple, Spotify, Google, check out the DodgerHeads podcast as well. Cavan Biggio's the Dodger. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Enjoy the rest of your day. As always, go Dodgers.